All right, we're going to jump out to South Dakota and we'll talk with Bob. Hi, Bob. What do you got for us tonight?
Good evening. Thanks for taking my call. My question is, when is it okay for a Christian to remarry?
Okay. All right. Well, let me jump in there. When is it okay for a Christian to remarry? When it's a believer. When you are remarrying a believing person. Now, I understand that there are people on the airwaves saying, no, you can never get remarried. I know there are people on the airwaves saying that if you get remarried after a divorce, for any reason, if you get remarried, then it is a lifelong pursuit of adultery, they say. You're living in perpetual sin, they say. Well, to that I would say, first of all, let's go to the Old Testament. Under the Old Testament law, there were provisions for divorce, even under Moses, even under the law. If you were neglected, if you did not have food and water and shelter and love, and you were neglected as a wife, then you were given provision to get a divorce with a certificate of divorce. Now, why a certificate? Because then it's legal, and then you can get remarried, and you're not stuck in no man's land. So the emphasis was on doing it legally with a certificate, and the emphasis was doing it when those criteria were not met. Now, I just point out that's the law. That's the Old Testament. Now, is grace stricter than that? Are we suddenly under stricter rules now? Well, if someone believes that, it's really a misreading of Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul discusses marriage and divorce and remarriage. And his big picture advice is remain as you are. Like, don't seek greener pastures. Get your contentment from Christ. But he does not say that remarriage is some sort of sin of perpetual adultery. Instead, the language used there is put away, implying putting your wife away without a certificate of divorce. And Paul, a Jewish man, would know exactly what that was all about. Because, when they burned the toast, a wife could find herself divorced from a Jewish man. When they looked at their husband the wrong way in the hallway, a wife could find herself divorced from her Jewish husband. And so Jesus addresses this, and he says, Moses gave you reasons and a certificate for a reason. So how much more, under God's grace, can we simply say, look, my past is a mess. My past may be filled with all kinds of mistakes, but I am a forgiven person, and I'm living in the present with God. I'm living in the present, totally forgiven, righteous as the day is long. I'm living in the present, led by God's Spirit.